Okay. Okay, so today is day number 10 of our journal challenge. And here we are. I really can't believe we are on day 10. And I want to thank you just for taking this journey with me thus far. Thank you for just sticking to your commitment. And I do want you to check in with yourself and just kind of see how you've been doing this week and last week. Like, are you following along? Are you caught up on the videos? Have you really been writing in your journal? Just take a time to kind of self-assess and do some inventory about where you are and how you've been doing. And so today, the questions I just asked really ties in with today, because today's word is focus. And so if you've been following along, every day we have a different word, and we are going to talk about being focused today and exactly what that means, and where in the areas of your life you can kind of assess where you need to be more laser focused. Yesterday we talked about engagement, and it's pretty much the same thing. When we talked about engagement, we talked about being present and being, more mindful of the way we treat people when we're in their presence, and being more engaged in areas of our life. And so, as you know, or maybe you don't know, this might be your first time watching this. If you want to get the questions to your inbox, and if you want to have direct access to the previous live videos without having to scroll, through the Facebook page, text journal 30 to 39492, journal 30 to 39492. So again, today we're talking about focus, but each day we start off with the journal question of, so what now? What have you done today to bring you closer to your best self? What have you done today to bring you closer to your best self? And basically, it being day 10, you need to think about, are you 10 toes in with anything that you wanted to accomplish, or are you kind of 1 foot in and 1 foot out the door? You think about that. You need to step 10 toes in as you think about participating in your life, as you make that, I shouldn't say think about, as you set that intention. We talked about intention last week. As you set that intention to participate in your life, you should be 10 toes in. And so when we think about being focused, we want to think about areas of our life where we need to be more laser focused. And basically, before we get into that, just start to think about what things you value the most about your life. What do you value the most about your life? And really think about that, because I told you before in another video that you can always tell what a person values by where they spend their time and how they spend their money. That is going to be a direct indication of really what's important to you. If I say my family is important, people say it all the time. Family first, family first, family over everything. Blood is thicker than water, blah, blah, blah. But do your deeds match up with your declarations? Do you really spend time with your family like that? I mean, are you really about your family? Or are you at work all the time? You doing so much maybe to take care of your family, but you're not spending time with them. So when we think about focus, we want to start thinking about first determining what we value the most in our life. What do we value most? You can do top 5, top 3, top 2, whatever you want to do. What do you value the most in your life? And next, you want to think about, when you think about what you value the most, you just want to kind of rank that, which one of those commitments are the most important to you. The reason why we're going along in this fashion is because we're gonna talk about how you can focus better in these areas. So what do you value the most? And then you want to kind of rank them about which one of those commitments are the most important. If you want, you can put in the comments, you know, what's most important to you. Let me know. Let me know out here, you know. I don't want to just be just talking. Engage. We talked about engagement yesterday. So tell me what's most important to you. What are your commitments? What are you committed to? And again, I said this already, but now that you have those, now that you know this is important to me, this is what I value, this is where I'm committed. Now I want you to look at your time. Is that true? You know, based on the way you spend your time, the way you allocate your resources. I said money, but this really your time and your resources. How do you allocate the things that you have? That's going to tell you the answer to our next journal question, or our first journal question dealing with focus. And so I've asked you all to have a notebook to kind of write down the answers to these questions each day, a dedicated notebook for the January Journal Challenge. Again, all you need to do is text journal 30 to 39492 to get the other questions. It's no cost or anything, just so you can have access to it. It'll be like an automated thing, go come direct to your email. So today's question, based on what you just answered about your commitments and what you value and how you spend your time in those areas, I want you to think about, okay, put the areas of your life that have become a blur and need more laser focus. When I did this exercise, it was very clear to me that, okay, there are some areas that I've dropped off on. And so it's really about being transparent with yourself. Nobody has to see the answers to the questions, but you need to assess for yourself where things are being blurry at, you know, where things are not as clear as you want them to be. Okay. It's important that you know that for yourself, because if you don't know it for yourself, then you can't fix it. And so when we think about focus, I'm going to tell you why like this. We are, really addicted to wasting time. We are so addicted to wasting time. And when you think about the areas of your life where you need to have more focus, ask yourself this question. Are you, how can I say this? Are you wasting time to avoid what's important? Just think about it. We do a whole lot of, let me do this first. Let me check my email. Let me hop on Facebook. You know, let me make this phone call. When you already know internally that you should be doing something else. And so you want to think about why you're avoiding that. You know, what are you doing to avoid what's important? Again, because we are addicted to wasting time. And a lot of times we avoid what's right in front of us. We avoid, like I said, we say families first. I'm just using it as an example. You know, people say their marriages first, their children. And don't get me wrong, some people might say career. Don't let me put in your head what should be first to you. Okay, obviously I'm throwing out things, family, children, because that's important to me. But this is based on your own value system. Okay, we all have different core values. What I want you to do is to make sure that your deeds are matching your declarations, and that you're not out of alignment with what you say. Now, we talked about alignment last week, I think on day 7. So that's really a good video to go watch on day 7 about what being in alignment is. So instead of us wasting time, and doing, meaningless things, we need to think about, why am I not focusing on what I need to do? Exactly, Lori, procrastination. Like, why am I procrastinating? I mean, that's really what it is in a nutshell. Why am I doing that? Think about areas of your life that need more laser focus, and think about why you are avoiding those areas of focus. Think about how, what that cost you to avoid that. Another thing we can do is get rid of the clutter in our life. Clutter is not always physical. It really starts up here. We have emotional and psychological clutter. And what happens is the clutter that's in our physical area, that manifests from what's going on in our head. When you see something out of order and disarray, it's because you haven't addressed something that's going on internally, and you cannot focus. There is no way you're going to be able to organize something if in your head everything is in chaos. And that comes from suppression our emotions and not speaking our truth. Okay. It comes from unforgiveness, like not letting things go. You have to let things go in order to make room for new things. And that way your external surroundings are going to reflect anew, versus the clutter is just the manifestation of clutter in your head and clutter in your heart. Okay. We do a lot of things on autopilot. And so when we do that, we're not focused, because you're just going on through the day doing what you usually do, but you're not, what we talked about yesterday, you're really not engaged. It's just automated. Think about when you're driving and your mind drifts off, but you end up, at work or at home or where you usually go. Why? Because you do it all the time. How many times have you maybe left your house and you were meaning to go somewhere that you don't usually go, but it's like your car just started driving on its own because your mind drifted away. You were not focused, and you're like, oh, I didn't mean to turn here, because you're not engaged. You're not in the present moment. Okay. So when you think about the areas of your life that need more laser focus, also you want to think about why they are blurry. Like, what has been your commitment or lack of commitment in those areas? Then, when we think about that, you definitely want to spend more time with the people who matter to you, but it is okay to also, you need to spend more time alone, because a lot of times we can't focus on what matters because we've neglected ourselves. Now, self-care has become a buzzword in my area, in my career area of wellness. It's become a buzzword, but I really want you all to take a look at that, because when you wrote down or when you thought about what matters most in your life, be honest. How many of you said I matter? If you said I matter, hit the like button if you said I matter when you thought about what matters most. We forget about ourselves. It's not selfish to matter. It's not selfish to say that you are a priority or that you are a commitment. And when we neglect ourselves, guess what? We can't show up for other people. You cannot pour from an empty cup. I always tell people, it's not even about pouring from a full cup. It's about pouring from a cup that's overflowing, because you give from your overflow. Your focus should come from your overflow, because if I give, like I have this cup, okay, this mug has water in it, and I've drunk half of it down. Well, if I give out of this half cup, even if it was a full cup, then I only have a little left. But if this cup is overflowing because I put enough into it and I'm nurturing it, then I can easily give some away. And so when we think about what matters most in the areas of our life that are blurry, that we need to put more laser focus, I dare you to put me. I need more laser focus. And when you start to do that, when you start to love on yourself and treat yourself better, you're sending a message to other people on how they should treat you. If people, walk all over you, it's because you like lay down on the floor and let them do that. So also, when you think about focusing, make sure you include yourself in the equation, okay? It's very important to put yourself as a priority, because if you're not important to you, no one else is going to value you either. And that's the message that you're sending out. I'm not valuable. I don't focus on me. I don't focus on my needs. I'm not a priority to myself. I'm not committed to me. So therefore, you don't have to be. And so that's the way that works, okay? So the next question is, you're going to pick one of those areas and figure out what is your why. Make no mistake about it. You have to be clear on what your motivations, your values, and your intentions are to maintain higher levels of focus. I don't care what it is. I don't care if you say family's first and just because family's supposed to be first, or my career is supposed to be first. What is your motivation behind that? And when you know what your why is, boom, then you can just hit it right on the nail. It's about, again, we talked about the other day, you start with the end game in mind. If I know where I'm going and why I'm going there, then I can work backwards. And so when you're getting distracted, and you can come back to, okay, you know what? This is why I'm doing this. It's just kind of like when you have like charitable organizations and people who do, different work for other people, and they feel like, yeah, I'm tired, but I'm so fulfilled because I'm helping them and they need it and they have less than me. And it's just like you find this energy, you're energized and you're totally in alignment with your purpose because you know why you're doing something. And so that's what we look at when we list, when we determine what's important, determine our commitments, and we've looked at where we really allocate our time and resources to assess where is it blurry at, where am I not focused, then you want to pick an area and say why. You don't have to do it for all of them right now. Eventually you should, but just pick one thing and figure out why it's important to you. Think about your motivations and your values. And if you realize, you know what? It's really not that important to me. That might be why you're not focused, the way you should be in that area. And so you need to get clear about what that is. Let's see. So we're going to go into our affirmation for today. And I'm sure, as you can guess, it has to do with focus. And the affirmation for today is, I focus on what I declare matters most in my life. I focus on what I declare matters most in my life. I talk a lot about declarations because basically it's what you're saying out your mouth. It's what you say. But people watch what you do. And more importantly, we watch, or you should watch, patterns. Because I could say something today, I could do something today, and it might just be the zone that I'm in this moment. Or maybe I love you today, or maybe I hate you today. You know what I mean? I mean, this is just real. We're human, and it could be that. But I need to really look at the pattern of behavior, not at other people, but also for myself. And when I'm in touch with what my patterns of behavior are, then I can get in touch and be laser focused about what my values are, where I'm allocating my resources and my time, in the area of my life that I've neglected that I need to focus more on. And so we back that up with, okay, this is what I've declared. I've said A, B, or C matters the most to me. And so what you need to affirm is, I focus on what I declare matters most in my life. Okay, so that is what we talked about today, focusing. We talked about making sure you're allocating your time and resources to where to the things that matter the most, and also taking a look at what's blurry in your life that you need to focus more on. But we also, which I think was the most important thing, we talked about getting reacquainted with ourselves and making ourselves part of that area of our life that we need to focus our attention on, to love on ourselves. So tomorrow we're going to talk about, I always have to pause. You think I would know day to day. What are we talking about tomorrow? Tomorrow we're going to talk about freedom. Tomorrow we're going to talk about freedom. Now, on day one, we talked about bondage. Okay, and so we need to talk about freedom as well. So tomorrow will be day 11. And so I hope that you all have been helped. I know I've been helped. You know, you talk sometimes and you say things because they're inside of you. And it's like, oh, wow, where did that come from? Like, I'm talking to me, you know, and so I definitely, I've been helped. So hopefully you've been helped. We went on a journey of self-discovery for a whole month, and it is a commitment, but make sure you just stay on track. Make sure that, you know, you're just being in alignment with whatever intentions that you set for this year. I've already talked about that the winter time in January 1, it really isn't the beginning of a new year. Naturally, the spring equinox is really the beginning of a new year, but this is the beginning of a calendar year. And so many of us set goals and intentions, and we want to make transitions and evolve during this time. And so I felt it was necessary for us to self-discover. So instead of us focusing really on a goal, I thought it would be, you know, more beneficial that we focus on reflecting, because that's what we should do this time of year, focusing more on looking inward. The animals are hibernating, they're resting right now. So as we are in a restful state as well, we need to be looking in. So we will talk about freedom tomorrow. Make sure that you go to text journal 30 to 39492, journal 30 to 39492, so you can get the questions and you can access the other videos, the recorded version of the videos without having to scroll through. I'm telling you, that's going to be beneficial, because after we've done 30 videos, are you really going to want to, like, I remember that one day we talked about such and such, and you know, where is that video? You don't be scrolling through the timeline. Okay, so make sure you go and do that. Okay, thank you. Good night. I will see you all tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.